Hi, I'm Darnell with Whale Recipes, and this is my review of the Ninja Crispi Portable Cooking System. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. Alright, so everything is unboxed, and since this is a portable system, it's not very big and it's not very heavy. And so let's go over what came with the unit. There's paperwork, there's the quick start guide, there's the user manual, there's lots of recipes in this quick start guide. So there's pages and upon pages of recipes and cooking charts and such. The unit has basically, like, this is the main head unit here, and so this has the cooking functions on it. And this is kind of like an extension to use on the 4-quart glass container here. And this is a 6-cup glass container. So it comes with a 6-cup container, which is a small one, and a little air fry rack for it. It comes with a 4-quart one, and it has an air fry kind of a rack for it, or crisper rack, whatever you choose to call it. And each has a little bit of spacing between, like, it doesn't go all the way flush to the bottom. It keeps kind of a gap for airflow, and also you could put like a little bit of something down under there if you wanted to cook on 2 levels. There's also lids for the container, so basically, like, you can cook your food up. You can put your lid on the top of these and close it up, and basically then put it into your fridge, and you're supposed to be able to take it from like the fridge or the freezer right out, and you could put this head unit back on, and you could reheat things. So that's some pretty interesting stuff. Now, it's got this 3-foot cord, so a nice lengthy cord. It's a 3-prong dedicated ground wire cord, so that's very nice, especially for a travel unit. You'll always have a plug with a dedicated ground wire, but you want to make sure that you check that wherever you travel. That's good for safety. And it's a 1500 watt unit, and so that's a higher end of wattage, so you want to try and make sure that you don't have anything else on the same circuit as the unit, because if it's got too much wattage along with this, then you'll blow the circuit. You don't want to do that. And this cooker has 4 functions, and I'll be showing you a close-up of them here on the unit in a moment, but it's bake, air fry, re-crisp, and max crisp, and I'll be going into those in more detail in a bit. Now, the temperature ranges for this cooker are 375 degrees Fahrenheit to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. That varies depending on function. Now, given that it's these are hotter temperatures, 375 to 450, this is not one that you're going to be doing any of your cooler temp stuff in. This is for basically when you're on the go, reheating or cooking. And I guess even if you're not on the go, still, even if you're keeping it at home, reheating, cooking, but you're not going to like dehydrate or any of that type of stuff in this. The time ranges are up to 1 hour, and it varies depending on function, but like 1 minute up to 4 hours of time. The dimensions of the cooker are 13.38 inches in depth, 11.96 inches in width, and 13.58 inches in height. Now, as I mentioned, there's a 6-cup and a 4-quart container, and they say that the 4-quart container can hold up to a 4-pound chicken and vegetables. Now, here's something interesting from the manual that Ninja mentions, because as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to be able to take these containers from the freezer straight to cooking and reheating with this cooker that can get up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, right? But they mentioned that the glass containers are freezer safe, microwave safe, and dishwasher safe, but the containers are not oven or stovetop safe. So you're not supposed to use these containers in your oven or on your stovetop. So keep that in mind. That's what Ninja's recommended. They say that it's high grade broil scale, maybe I'm saying that right or not, glassware, and can withstand extreme temperature changes from 22 degrees Fahrenheit to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And they say that the unit protects various types of countertop surfaces like granite, laminate, quartz, butcher block, marble, and more, they say more types of countertops. Now, beyond what they said as far as those types, I don't have any further guidance. I know, sometimes folks want to try doing different things other than what is stated by the manufacturer, and I have nothing to say beyond what you've been told by them. Now, they mentioned never to use the PowerPod. That's the head unit. They call that the PowerPod. They say never use that on any other container other than these containers that it was made for. So you're not supposed to go trying to jerry-rig it on any of your pans or pots or whatever that you think it might fit on. You're not supposed to do that. And they say that all items should be kept 6 inches away from the PowerPod when the unit's in use. It's got vents here at the top. The unit weighs 15.74 pounds, and they say to cease all use of the PowerPod if any of the feet are broken or damaged. So these are the feet on the PowerPod, because after you use it, you're supposed to be able to safely put the PowerPod on your counter right after cooking. And I guess even though the coils inside of it might be hot, the feet are supposed to protect your counter if you set it down like that on your counter. Don't set it on your table. Now, as I move on to other parts of this review, I do want to mention that there are over 900 videos here on this channel cooking with different types of countertop cookers, and reviews of over 80 different countertop cookers here on the channel, so there's a lot to check out. And if there's ever a point in this review that is not to your liking, you can always use the chapters feature. You can use the timestamps that are in the video description to always go to a different point in the video. Alright, so even though you don't use the unit on a kitchen table, let's imagine we're on a countertop and just want to show you more of the unit closer up and how it all gets put together. But you see inside of the 6-cup pot and the 4-quart pot here, and you see underneath there, under the bottom, the sides. And just to show you the PowerPod, or what I like to call the head unit, you see here the front of it, you see the top, it's got the different functions there on top, and it's got the vents kind of like right there on the ridges there. And up underneath you see that it's basically got a heating coil there, and there's a fan up there also, so you got a fan blowing on that big heating coil to keep things hot. So with the 6-cup container, you're able to just basically put the PowerPod right on it and just clip things in place like that, and then when you're done you can get it off. When you're using the 4-quart container, you have to use the extension piece here, and so let's see if I can be able to get this on in a decent way. Once we have it on, well, actually it's got to go like this, right? Yeah, I think that's probably right. So you can pop it on there like that, and then when you're done you can pop it right off and set that on the countertop. For this 4-quart lid, once you're done cooking and the food's cooled down, you can put it right there like that, and you've got things sealed up. Same for the 6-cup container. You can put it on, and it's got snaps on the 6-cup container to snap things shut, and there you go. Alright, so got things all cleaned off a bit. I'm going to do some independent measurements here. So we see with the 4-quart lid, when I go side to side, we got 9 inches that way, we got 9 inches that way, and on the diagonal we've got 10 inches. For the 6-cup container, we've got 7 inches that way by 7 the other way. On the diagonal you get 8 inches. You're supposed to use these like crisper trays in any cook, any type of cook that you're doing with the Ninja Crispi. So I'm going to measure with those in how much height you get. You get 2 inches on the 6 cup. You get 3 inches on the 4 quart. And I don't see any kind of way for anyone wondering to remove these handles from the pot. So just wanted to make that clear. And I'm going to take the PowerPod, I'm going to put that on. I'm just going to do the exterior height measurement just for the sake of that. So we see things are somewhere in that 9-inch range or so. I don't want to put my head in the way, but you can probably see better than me even. Let's see, go inside the side. I want to do the side here. Let's see. Yeah, so it's like, well, actually I got to go from this handle, so I forgot about that handle. Yeah, so from handle to handle, maybe about 9 inches that way, about, just roughly. And let's see, front to back, I guess I could also do front to back. We're looking at about 8.5 inches or so. So that's interesting. Now if I put things over here on the larger one, 4-liter one, if I go front to back, I'm getting on this one about 8.5 inches there. Now side to side, I'm getting, if I can get it right, about 12 inches. And let's see, height, yeah, let's do that. So in height, we're getting, you probably can see better. Actually, let's see, I can see this. Okay, I think. Yeah, I'm seeing about 11.5 to 12. Somewhere between 11.5 and 12 inches in height that way. Now just for the sake of some side-by-side comparison, I've got the Ninja Crispi now next to the Ninja Speedy. Full review of it is here on the channel, and its sizes and all that good stuff are in that review. But you see the Ninja Speedy is noticeably bigger than the Crispi, and quite honestly I have traveled with the Speedy before. Works out great in travel, but it's a lot bigger than traveling with something like the Crispi, which would be, you know, a lot smaller and easier to get around. And you know, you can also put those containers in the freezer and such, which you can't do with the Ninja Speedy. So the Speedy is just way larger, and I mean this is, you know, not a large cooker, and it's way larger than the Crispi. Now I've got the Ninja Crispi next to the Philips 2000 series. This is a 4.4 quart air fryer. Full review of it is also here on the channel. But we see even with this 4.4 quart air fryer, it's still noticeably bigger than the Crispi, even though its basket size is near the size of this Crispi 4 quart pot. The Philips is still noticeably larger. I will say though, in defense of the Philips, that you can see in the review that the exterior of this doesn't get as hot as, you know, something like this glass here on the pot probably is going to get to the touch probably during cooks, but we'll do some testing of that later on. Okay, so let's do an initial plug-in of the cooker here. So plugging it in, and things lit up on the top, and so I guess that's what happens when we do the initial plug-in. But basically you see that there's this mode button here, and you've got your different modes. So it started out on the recrisp mode here. And so while things are on the recrisp feature, I'll just talk about that a little bit, because they say that recrisp is to revive leftovers by gently warming them and leaving you with crispy results. And they say that you should not, and they say it in all caps, do not use recrisp for frozen foods. And recrisp has a temperature range of 380 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can go in 1-minute increments up to 30 minutes. So click the mode button. I'm going to go to air fry and do air fry next. Each time you click mode, it goes to a different mode. But for air fry, they mentioned that you can use it to give food crispiness and crunch with little or no oil. And they say also that for air fry, do not use air fry for frozen foods. The temperature ranges for air fry are 400 degrees Fahrenheit to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can do 1 minute increments up to 60 minutes. Next, I'll talk about the Max Crisp function. Max Crisp is to blast your food with high heat for ultimate crisp. And it's best for pre-packaged frozen foods. And they say for best results with frozen foods, use only the Max Crisp function. And Max Crisp is the only function that they mention to use at all for frozen foods. And they say that the temperature ranges are 425 degrees Fahrenheit to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can do 1 minute increments for up to 60 minutes. The next function is the bake function, the only one we have not discussed. The bake function is to create decadent baked treats and desserts. And the temperature ranges for bake are 375 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 minute increments for up to 30 minutes. Now there's also the start button, and it's also your power button. And you can press it to turn on the PowerPod if it's off, and you can of course press it to start and stop cooking. And if you hold it for 2 seconds, it will turn the power off on the PowerPod. And something I need to make very clear and explain is that even though they talk about temperature ranges for the different functions, you don't get to change the temperature. The temperature ranges are what it's going to run at about. So like recrisp, it's like 380 to 400, but that's what it's going to run at about. You don't get to adjust that temperature. Bake is like 375 to 400, but you don't get to select the temperature. That's what it's going to run at about. All you get to change is the time. So you can do mode for about whatever temperature range you want to be within in time, and that's all you get as far as selecting for the cook. Alright, so I'm going to take an oven thermometer here and going to set that right in the center there. Put the PowerPod back on. Alright, so now with the oven thermometer in there, I'm going to go over to Max Crisp. And now that I'm at the Max Crisp setting, I'm going to push it out to 20 minutes of time to let it run. Well, actually I'm going to do 30 because after 20, even though I might check some things, I might let it go longer, I don't know, but we'll do 30 minutes. So I'm going to click start, and so there it goes. We hear it starting up, fan is starting to go, and so we'll let this run for a while and we'll see what we get. Alright, so things have been running for 20 minutes, and I just want to check to make sure that the feet here are kind of hot. So I don't know if these feet are countertop safe or not, but taking the top off of it, it automatically stops itself. These feet here are supposed to be safe on the counter. I guess the extension feet, maybe they're safe too, I don't know, but this, they do say that you can put down like that. Anyway, looking at the temperature, we are in that 475-ish range, and probably we're even closer to that when I first took the PowerPod off. So it is keeping temp around where it's supposed to, around 475 for that Max Crisp. I'm going to put that lid back on for a moment and let it run for a little while longer. Let's see, for Max Crisp. I'm going to hit start again and let it get going again. First, let's do a sound decibel check. So we're reading in the lower 50s. So that's about, some air fryers come in at that, but it's audible. Yeah, we're in the mid-lower 50 range. Alright, now I want to do some feeling around. Here on the counter, I can feel the heat emitting from the glass here. Definitely don't want to touch that glass. You can tell that's very hot. And so yeah, I mean the glass is hot all the way around. Even though the counter, you know, I can keep my hand here, I can feel that the heat's emitting from that glass there. The PowerPod itself, I mean, it's not too hot. Yeah, right there it's hot. On this part, yeah, on these parts down here it's hot. But up top here it's not too hot. And so just going to check making changes to the time on the fly. Yeah, I just adjusted the temperature up and it accepted that. So I'm able to make changes on the fly of the time. Of course, temperature, it does its own thing. And we know that removing the lid is going to do a pause. And I'm going to just tap the start button, and it does pause from hitting the start button once. And then if I hit start again, it does start up again. So you can pause from either just taking the lid off or hitting that start button one time. And so I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to just stop it again, see if I can get the lid off. Yeah, I'm looking at the temp, it's reading about 450 now. I guess maybe since I took it off it's taken a while to heat it back up again. So let's see if I turn the cooker off, and I'm wondering, I think these feet should be safe for the counter, but no, I'm not certain about that. I know the feet for the PowerPod are made to be safe for the counter, but I'm not sure about these feet for, I guess I'm a little leery about these feet on the extender. I mean, maybe because I'm feeling the heat from the glass and a little bit too as well, but I guess it's safe. And now I'm basically putting it back on, turning the unit all the way off. And now that I've got it all the way off, I'm just real quick going to, after it turns itself off, turn it back on. And I see that after I turn it back on, it goes right back to recrisp 10 minutes. So it's basically not changing from what I had before. It's not remembering anything. There's no memory in the cooker is what I'm saying. Once you turn it off, you lose all your settings and it doesn't remember anything. And I just want to give you a view of how things look when you turn it off. So when I hit the off button and hold it, it basically says off on that top display there. That's how things look when it's turning off. Alright, so now I'm going to do a toast test because there's always the question of, can it cook toast no matter what it is? So I've got a couple slices of my light whole wheat sourdough bread here. You can find the cook for this recipe and all here on the channel. Now I'm going to go ahead and put, I've got one slice that's buttered, one slice that's not. I'm going to put those in here on the little like air fryer rack that they provide. I guess they're not going to lay in there flush and even because, yeah, I guess I can't, it's kind of hard to get these in here flush and even because they're too big. My bread's kind of big. So I'm going to put the buttered one flush and the non-buttered one not so flush. And I'm starting to try and truss using the extension on the counter. I think it just gets a little hot from the glass, but once I get it off of the container it seems to be okay to put on counter. But I'm going to try the air fry setting for making toast. And for time, even though I'm going to leave it set at 10, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, but it's not going to need 10, I don't think. It, you know, probably needs something less, but it is more resilient than your store-bought bread. It's going to hit start, and we'll just see what happens. Alright, so things have been going for almost 6 minutes, so I'm going to stop here and just go ahead and set this on the counter like that. Get my bread out. Now the unbuttered slice kind of went over into the buttered slice a little bit, but you see the front's got a very light toasting on it. The back also got a little bit of light crisp on the back, a little bit of light toasting on the back. I mean, the bread is totally, crispy, but you see a little more brownness on the front, of course. On the back, you see just a little. I know I could turn it over, but that's not my point here. I just want to show how it does on both sides as is. And you see the buttered slice, got the butter well melted and cooked, the back there. And I wanted to mention that on the handles it mentions in a large type, do not remove the handles from the container. So you're not supposed to remove the handles from the container at all. And I guess that's why I didn't see an easy way to do that. But we do see that the cooker can cook up some toast for you. Alright, for a bake test I've got my almond flour chocolate chip cookie dough here. I'll flash the recipe on screen. And so now I'm going to try and get some cookies scooped out. I've got a layer of parchment paper on this crisper rack there. So probably going to get about 9. I figure I can get 3 by 3 and get 9 cookies laid out here. Alright, so I'm going to take and put the PowerPod with its extender on there and hope the paper won't get messed up near the top of the container there. We'll see how it goes. I'm on bake, and I'm going to set it to, I'm going to do 30, but it's not going to need 30, I doubt. I'll keep an eye on things. The good thing about this is that you can see how things are doing during the cook. So hitting start. Alright, after roughly 15 minutes, taking the lid off to check things. And I think they may need a little more time. It is basically like a basket air fryer as far as baking. It does come down on the fan action. It's not very loud, and so it tries to be gentler. But it is, cooking the tops very heavily as a basket air fryer would. I think there's a couple that I'm seeing that are not yet done. It seems like here in the front, these aren't done as much as these further back. And I had to use parchment paper because if I didn't, the dough might start slipping through some of the grooves of the air fryer rack. So I'm going to start getting out the ones that seem to be fully done and just leave the few that I don't think are fully cooked yet. But as you can see, they did get a hard top cooking. So it's like it can bake, but you're going to get basically like basket air fryer results when you're baking. But I'm going to give those last two a little bit more time, so hit start again. And it basically counts down the remaining time from that point. Alright, let things go for about another 3-4 minutes there. And yeah, I think we're good. So pull in the last of these cookies, and so now you know how things do on a bake. Alright, so the best thing I have to offer for a max crisp test of something frozen is some frozen wings from a local farmer. And so that's what we're going to go with. I put some extra light olive oil, not to be confused with extra virgin olive oil. Put some extra light olive oil on them and some organic no salt seasoning and some lemon pepper seasoning. So I'm just going to take the whole clump of some wings together there, and I guess I'll flip things over at some point during this cook, but we'll see how this goes. So I'm going over to the max crisp mode. I'm going up to 30 minutes. I don't know if I'll need 30 or more or less, but we'll start with 30 and just hitting start, and we'll see what happens here. Alright, so I've let things go for maybe almost 14 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can start separating things and moving things around a bit to get these wings kind of broken up a bit, if possible. Yeah, they're moving around some, so you see they were like all kind of frozen clumped together in a block. So I'm trying to get them as best I can separated since they're coming straight from frozen. Alright, so I've got all the chicken separated now, and I'm going to try and put it on the side that looks most undercooked and see how I can get things done. Well, maybe this side is probably better to, yeah, this side here on this one. For this one, no, that's not exactly the side that needs to be cooked more. Alright, yeah, and this one looks like both sides got some cooking, but I'm going to leave it on this side. Looks very undercooked there. Alright, so I'm going to put it back on, let things cook for a while. We'll see what happens. Alright, things have been going for 25 minutes now. Just want to take another look at things. And just to be clear, I'm not cooking the 165. I'm cooking to my personal preference of texture and doneness that I would like. Alright, that side looks really done. Alright, it might be. Alright, this one back here looks like it could use some more cooking. I am going to test some of these just to make sure that they're done, but a lot of them already look like they're at my preference. Yeah, they're done there. Done. These are done. This one in the back, I'm just going to give it a moment longer, but I'm going to take all of the others out except that one. I just want it to get a little crispier is all. So just kind of throw that in the middle. It's probably done, but just going to let it go for another maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stop things here, I believe. Yeah, it's gotten a bit more crispy in the Ninja Crispi. I think it was already done earlier, but just for the sake of checking, yeah, very, very well done. So pull it on out, so you can see that you can air fry wings from frozen to crispy in the Ninja Crispi. Alright, so let's talk about cleaning the cooker now. Basically for cleaning, they say that you should unplug it before you start cleaning, and that the PowerPod should be cleaned thoroughly after each use, and to always let things cool down before you start cleaning, and never immerse the PowerPod in water or any other type of liquid. They also mention that you can use like a warm soapy dishcloth, and well, actually I said that you can use a warm soapy dishcloth and then a wet one to wipe things down and remove the excess soap and dry things off afterwards. Well, I'm saying also don't use anything abrasive. Those are just some general notes that I use for any cleaning. Don't use anything abrasive. Now, and they say that the glass containers are dishwasher safe, as mentioned earlier. Also, the crisper plates are dishwasher safe. And the adapter that you use to put it on the 4-quart container is also dishwasher safe. They say that the lids are top rack dishwasher safe. That's the only thing where they specify top rack are those storage lids. And so the cooker comes with a 1-year limited warranty, and so that's a pretty standard thing there. But I did want to mention that nothing in this video is sponsored, nothing given to me. I get it myself, and I like to stay disconnected from the manufacturers as best as I can. But in the video description, there are lots of ways to help the channel, such as my cookbook, merch, membership, donation, link to the Amazon shop where you pay the same price, help the channel. Also, check out my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. That's waveovenrecipes.com. You want written recipes, there's tons there. And so Ninja Crispi, you know, it did what it came to do. It did the work. It's made for real easy type of travel, and so it's real small and light to be able to just take for travel, and it's got the stuff built in to be able to store the food, so it does what it's built for. And so with all of that said, if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and good eating.